Hey guys, good afternoon. How are you? My eyes, my eyes. First of all, a toast to the weirdos who wake up every morning and think, I can do it better than the 95% of people who are losing their asses in the market every day. To the weirdos who think, I can beat JP Morgan and Deutsche Bank and Bank of America at their own game. To the weirdos who believe they can circumvent the worst parts of their psyches and psychologies and fight or flight responses and somehow bypass millions of years of evolution to do the risky things. I salute you. I definitely salute you. So if you're here today, I want you to hang on a little tight because we're going to talk about some cool stuff, in particular how the markets follow repeating time patterns. And we're specifically going to look at signals that I gave out 2 days ago that people have been following and evaluating. And so 2 days ago, we gave out signals for the most popular markets, E-mini, S&P, crude, oil, gold, the DAX, the Dow. And today we're kind of coming back together to see how those indicators did. And spoiler alert, if you were following the times that we published for the 2 days, you did pretty good. You had a lot of great entries over the last 2 days and a lot of good opportunities for the high side. What I wanted to look at real quick, sometimes I go a little off script and I was hoping you'd indulge me. Does anyone notice any similarities between the chart on the left and the chart on the right? Anything stand out at all? A few things, right? Here, let me try to get the things together. What I wanted to point out, a lot of what we do is based on this idea of recurring cycles, right? That time is a river, time is a flat circle. Everything that has happened will happen again. And we've spent years in the past looking at the cycles where, for example, when the sunspots hit a maximum, we have a recession, right? We've looked at those things together. We've also looked at the propensity of violence and wars that occur at sunspot cycle highs. And so I want you to first see that we're working with predictive nature in that we have a cycle that repeats at a known gap in time from a maximum to a minimum, a maximum to a minimum, a maximum to a minimum, right? And so on our charts today, you're going to see that reflected as we go from a maximum to a minimum, a maximum to a minimum, to a maximum to a minimum. And so this is the nature of time. So it's been a while since I posted my video on the YouTube channel where I specifically address the big cycle that we're all watching and waiting for, not hoping that it will get here. Mind you, I'm trying to find the exact screenshot here that I wanted you to see, but expecting something to occur that usually occurs. Bear with me one moment. I think it's up higher. I should have had this ready. I'm so sorry. The next solar cycle is about to hit its maximum. We're pretty much rolling right into, here we go. We're rolling right into maximum territory. And so if you'll remember, most of the recessions almost always occur up here. The last two were inverted. The Great Depression occurred at a low. The Great Recession occurred at a cycle low. And the COVID recession occurred at a low. And we had a period of inverted signals. The markets crashed here and went up here and crashed here. Okay, those cycles invert for a time and then they don't. Well, we're coming up into this next cycle where we expect that type of reversal to occur, potentially. And in terms of violence, we're seeing the kinds of things that we're expecting to see right now, right? Iran bombs Israel, Hamas, October 7th, Venezuela's melting. The president was an assassination attempt, 1,000-point drop in the Dow. Iran threatens war with Israel. We're all waiting for it. And so these kinds of events have historically happened at sunspot highs. We have the Great French Revolution, the American Revolution, we have the French-Prussian War, the October Revolution, the Cuban Revolution. Then we had, if you remember back in the 80s and had big hair like me when I still had hair, you had glasnost, the fall of communism. All of these things seem to happen around the same moments in time. I don't know if I have it here. I did the study. I thought, man, it'd be fun to see if that's actually the case. And what I discovered was this. If you attempted to kill a president and you did it at the cycle low, you had a pretty good chance of doing it. The presidents that were killed at a cycle low when people's guards were down, 2 out of 3 of those presidents were killed at cycle lows. However, if you tried to assassinate a president at a cycle high, 3 out of the 4 times were unsuccessful because people were agitated, they were riddled with angst, there was a heightened sense of emergency and awareness. But either way, Richard, it's worthy of noting that all of the attempts took place at either a cycle high or a low. Everybody see that? I'm a little crazy right now. I understand this sounds a little bat nuts crazy, but there's something to it. And now as we roll into that point in time where the stuff hits the fan, and we can understand the science more deeply if you want to ask me more about it, but I thought this was kind of neat insofar as this chart right here is from 2008. And this chart right here is 2024. Now, how many of you were alive in 2008? How many of you remember before there was a Steve Carell movie called The Big Short? It's when our company started. And I just want to run through some things with you because if you look, I think there's a lot of writing on the wall that affirms the kinds of things that we've been teaching about. And there is an actual intraday weaponization of this that we can apply to, right? And so how many of you see this first leg up here? We'll call this the parabolic move. Parabolic move. How many of you know what parabolic means? Anybody? We'll take a look here real quick. And if we just look at some images, you can get a pretty good sense that it's just moving up and up and up. It's moving up and up and up very quickly. Parabolic move is something that people generally watch for, right? So we have that parabolic move. Now, down here, let's just put some letters. All right, we'll put some big letters. And I think this is important because for some of you, I've been telling you to watch for this, but I haven't really given you a deeper sense of what to look for as we got close to it. And I think we're getting pretty close. And I'm curious what your opinion is. So let's call that A, and let's call this B. And then over here, we'll do the same thing. A, whoops, and we'll call this B. Okay? It stands to reason that the next letter I'm going to use is C. Pretty decent pullback, right? Now remember, this is 2008. I think it's worthy of our solemn attention here, because true confession, I have a burgeoning social media program. We can be found on TikTok and X and Instagram and YouTube and Facebook. And part and parcel with that now is I see all the other garbage. I'm subjecting myself on purpose to thousands of garbage videos of talking puppet heads who say the dumbest things, and they have 200, 500, 1,000, 10,000 likes, 50, 200, 500 comments, and our channel nowhere near that. And it hurts me at a visceral primal level. I scream into the comments and tell people, come here for the truth. And no one comes, but I'm trying because I see this kind of stuff. And I'm going to come up here now and write the letter D. And again, just kind of follow along with me. And then E. We'll come over here, write D, and then E. Whoops. Hang on. And now E. What do you think so far? Everybody with me? What are your initial thoughts and impressions? Any initial thoughts or impressions? And now it's noteworthy that the drop is right around October, November. And Earl, when did I say that we were probably going to see the mierda hit the fan? Election. The election, right? And so now, here we are, August, right around here. Where did the low come in? June, July, August. Where did our low come in? June, July, August. Huh. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hold on, Lydick. What are you, what, I need to lie down. Right? July 6th, July 11th. July 6th. How many of you are kind of like, wait a second? No way. Right now. It seems pretty obvious to me. Right? And then if we kind of fix the scale right there, right, it sort of really comes into focus. How far did the market pull back in C and E? Ready? I can't even look at all of you right now. I used to do this all the time, and then I stepped away from it for a while, and now I'm coming back to it. So now we sort of almost have an answer key, don't we? We sort of almost have an answer key as to what might be on the way. So what conclusions can we come to there? Asaph said it, there is a plan. What conclusions can we come to? Well, number one, the stop run of all stop runs is waiting. So from an options perspective, right? Let's look at it from two different directions. Let's say there's no recession. I'm full of unicorn farts. There's nothing to any of what I'm showing you. We have some evidence in terms of seasonality in history, structurally, that at the very least, we're going back to 5,700, right? And then potentially punching through it somewhere around this point, somewhere October, November, we have this line in the sand. Now, what else do we see here? Pull it out. There was a candle with a big spike low. Let's call this big spike low candle, we'll give it an Elon Musk baby name. We'll call it XAI ampersand. There's the XAI ampersand day. And now we'll pull this out. And instead of E, we'll now name it like the smartest man in the world does. XA1 ampersand. That's what that day is, that candle right here. It seems like there's a map. What are some inferences we can make? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days from there tends to be a pullback. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days is right here. 9 days, boom. And it was a pretty healthy uptrend up until the 9th day, wasn't it, James? Kind of cool, isn't this? This is how we think at the company. This is what our ethos is, our undergirding belief that markets are an outward manifestation of human behavior. Human behavior repeats over and over and over and over again. It's like the movie The Matrix, where the architect turns to Neo and says, "We've gotten really good at destroying Zion. This will be our 6th time. Each time we're more efficient." A singular Messiah rises to save Zion, and then the machine world crushes it over and over and over and over again. There's nothing new under the sun, right? A very biblical, ecclesiastical approach, right? And so there appears to be some structure that has an influence here. And we're just going to look to the left. And now watch. I'm going to draw this, and I'm going to create, we'll call it navy blue. And let's do the same thing over here. They've already built in that resistance. It's never going to be perfectly the same, but there's going to be a lot about it that's the same. Weep. Let's stretch it out here. And so then look down below. Ready? There is one head, or shoulder rather. You already see it. Don't ruin it for everybody else. There's a head. There's a shoulder. And then a retest. Right now we have 1, 2. 1, potentially 2. And then the third one comes back to here. And that's the support level. Over here is the support level. Somewhere along there, right? So we're in a channel now between now and September, middle of September, September 18th is Elton John Day. I'm a rocket man. Rocket man. September 18th. Now, who's to say any of this happens with any kind of predictability, right? Who's to say any of this has any validity whatsoever? Can you see the next year at September 18th right here? I'm just going to leave that right there. And as we start to move forward year after year, where's September 18th? Right here. Not quite the same. It actually inverts here, which is interesting. Let's come back another year. September 18th is right there. It's a weekend. And we could just keep going year after year and analyze where is September 18th. Right here. What I'm proposing is that markets are reliably predictive as well intraday. And how do we presuppose that or prove it? Sorry about that little run down there. I just wanted those of you who've been following along with my analysis that we're coming into a pretty important area and that the future is pretty bullish now until we get closer to that October area, the October surprise, right? All right, stand by. Any questions about what I just did? Anything? Was that useful at all in any way, shape, or form to somebody? I thought it was cool. Hopefully someone makes a bunch of money with it. So 2 days ago, we gave out the times and directions for a few markets because we believe that intraday times also repeat, that there's a plan in place before we get to that chart. And so 2 days ago, we released the times and directions for markets like the E-mini S&P before the market ever opened, today being the ES 5-minute chart. And so what this program is trying to tell us, it's actually gone ahead of us and done something very similar in relation to what I just did by hand with you. And the program said, hey, what if it's true? What if the timing signals in markets are as important as Michael has seemingly found? What if we scan for intraday repetition? What if we scan for intraday repetition? And so what the program has done, this is an indicator for NinjaTrader, is it says, hey, let me look for you. And before the market ever opened today, in fact, since Tuesday, it was warning us about potential selling movement at these times. And it was warning us about potential buying movement at these times. These were patterns that the program found that exist, that don't maybe exist. Right now, they exist. So when you're sitting there watching these knuckleheads on YouTube or TikTok or in a Discord somewhere, and they're telling you how you just need to do this and look for this kind of candle and the ICT silver bullet and the LMNOP, blah, 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 they're guessing. They're walking behind the elephant, dodging giant turds. And every once in a while they get it right, and that's the video they play for you. Or it's in market replay, which is another story. This is a whole other experiment, isn't it? Because look, this chart was embedded into the interwebs consciousness here 3 days ago. These pixels and these colors and formations were carved in virtual stone 3 days ago. And we're going to look and see what to do with those times when we got to them in the present. In fact, there's a little paragraph here. We'll also be showing you how the signals can be traded by using one of two simple entry rules called signal with trend or the puncture trade. And then I gave a link to a video that actually goes through how to trade the signals. But I gave you the setup before the market opened. I gave you the times before the market opened and the directions. Okay, so let's take a quick look at this chart and just cover some things real quick. To prove there's nothing up my sleeve, I'm going to circle the times 9:10, 9:10, 12:15, 12:15, 11 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12:45, 12:45, 2:15, and 2:15. Okay, so this chart, which was 3 days old back on Tuesday, has been warning us about these movements since Tuesday. Well, you say, Michael, that's impossible because I don't know if you know this, but there was a report today, Michael, and it was retail sales and unemployment claims and all of these companies that are owned by large companies that invest in the markets want us to see there's a comeback rally. And there's no way we could know that people were going to buy going into the report. Oh, wait. So remember, the charts, when you're using our program, have two halves. And this is something no other vendor, no other mentor, no other company can provide. This dotted line right here represents where we are in time right now. A lot like that daily analysis we were doing a moment ago. Over here is a probable future. 7:25, 8:35, 9:45, 10:25, and so on. And those times exist all the way into tomorrow. In fact, we have the times for tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week. Right now, those times don't change, disappear, reappear. They are here forever. They will always be where they were. They won't disappear like these other nudniks. And so you have your probable future, but then over here is the interesting part. What happened at the times and directions we were waiting for? So right off the bat, there's a tremendous advantage. In what way? Well, if I'm going to go long right now, I better see it start to go long because there's a behavior pattern. And if I don't see the behavior pattern, why am I increasing my stop? Why am I averaging in? Why am I even in this trade if it's going a little against me at a time that I expected it to go in my favor? If I'm in a winning trade and I'm following the guru, I've got a bunch of silver bullets flying around. I've got the LMNOP tool system working. This guy says volume, this guy says structure, this guy says this and that and the other thing. I'm looking at a next time signal saying, oh, I have an hour and a half for this move, or I have 15 minutes for this move. I speak to the darkest parts of my psyche, the devil on my shoulder who's going, get out, get out, get out now, get out, get out now, get out. So what happened at the time as we were waiting for does two things. Number one, it gives us courage and some type of statistical backdrop to trust what's coming in the future. This validates that the game is not what we were told it was. It is not MACD divergence. It is not volume spikes. It is not delta this or that or the other thing, or some revolutionary fair value gap piece of crap. Oh, I get excited. And by the way, this has been in use for over 100 years. A super really dead guy, a super dead guy, amazed his super dead guy friends and trader friends. And he basically said, his name was William Delbert Gann. And he said, listen, it's time. It's always been time. It will always be time. Gann basically goes out and he says, you want to know how to make money like I do? Study what the market you're trading does historically. Keep track of the times where the turns occur. Project those times forward into the future. By knowing the past, you can tell the future. I'm not the first guy saying this. I am the first guy who weaponized it with a computer program, though, in a way that people can actually understand and use. All right, any questions yet? Let's take a look at some ways to actually trade this. Because it's one thing to give somebody raw signals, right? It's another to actually tell them how to trade it and what to do when we get to those signals. And so every week, I've been doing the same thing. I say, look, the signals are here. They're fun to look at, but it's raw. There's no stop loss. There's no target. There's no anything. Now, we're going to look at a setup. How do we trade when we get to these times that we've been waiting for 2 days? And I've been called every name under the sun. But no one has an answer in their comments online or in their reviews to what I'm about to show you. No one has a defense. It's sort of like when you're in an argument and somebody goes, well, you're stupid. That's not an argument. That's an insult. When the moving average is rising, ours is a 120 EMA. We're going to focus on signals in the direction of the moving average that's rising. So we'll pay particular attention to the buy signals when the 120 period moving average is rising. We're going to get in at the close of the candle, out by the next sell signal. Our stop is going to be 1.5 average true range values, the average size of a bar lately, 50% more of that away. So the stop is a dynamic stop. The market gets more volatile, there's more risk. The market slows down, there's less risk. There's also more reward available and less reward as the expansion and contraction occurs. That's it. There's a variation of this called a crossover. If there is a buy signal that starts out under the moving average, then crosses over, here it's a big intellectual leap here, hang on. If it crosses over the moving average, we're going to buy at the close of that candle and put our stop 2 ticks under it, and then hold it until the next sale signal. That's called a crossover trade. Everybody with me so far? The next one's called a puncture. Remember, there were 2 setups in that paragraph where I dared people to follow us. When we get to a sell signal, we're expecting it to go down or potentially go sideways in an uptrend. But if it continues to rise, we're going to go long a tick above that stop line. It's a breakout. It's a failure of the sell signal, indicating no one is lining up to sell right now. And if they are, there's way more buyers. We buy at the breakout above the stop line or below if we're underneath it, and our stop is 2 ticks under the puncture candle. We hold it until the close of the next time signal. Now you already know what I'm going to show you. You've already seen the chart. You already know what happened today. But look at what happened. Right here at 7:20, there's a crossover trade. You're in. Let's blow up the text a little bit so we can actually see prices. My template for this setting, or this chart rather, is always on like 11 for the text. There we go. We enter on the close of this candle at 87.25. Now I don't have to go out on a limb here. I don't have to explain something. I don't have to tell you that we're looking for a bearish looking pattern, or we're looking for consolidation, or we're looking for something that is very hard to describe to people mechanically, right? I'm looking specifically for a setup, yeah, like this knucklehead. This strategy makes me money every day. I start off my day on the higher time frame. What's the higher time frame? Is it the 240? Is it the daily? He'll never tell you. Then I zoom in on the lower time frame, and then I'm looking for this, and I'm looking for that, and blah, 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 blah. Here, the candle closed above the moving average. It's a crossover. That's a signal. Where's my stop? Stop is below this candle, right here. How long do I hold the trade? Entry, exit. That's a $38 move. Let's find the other SWTs, the signals with trend. 11 o'clock, there's my signal. Candle closes. What do? I hold it until when? 12:15. 12:45 is my next signal. I don't look for anything. 12:45. Boom. Out by when? 2:15. $6. This next one's going to sting. 3:15, it goes up to a maximum high of only 5 points, nowhere near break even for me. and it hits the stop, -7. Now, after the market closed, where are we? If you're still going, you're up another $4. 4 trades. Any questions? There's a puncture that occurs right here. It goes up 1 tick and it comes down and stops you out. Boom. -4. Darian, there's another puncture right here. The stop is where? Underneath the puncture candle. Underneath the puncture candle. How long do I hold the second puncture for? Until the next signal. There's today 38, 44, 54, 60, 6, let's leave it there. 60 -7 is 53, -5 is 48. Call it 45. 45 times 50 is $2,200. Let's call it an even $2,000. Any questions? Because here's the thing. I gave you the times 2 days ago, 3 days ago. I gave you the system rules 3 days ago. Donna, Esmeralda, what did you do? Anyone who doesn't have the software, what were you doing? What shenanigans, what craziness were you deploying? What insane chart drawings did you make? Chris? Because people do some weird stuff, man, and they lose. And then you get the post, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I don't understand. Okay. Do it on the NQ. Will anyone help me? 50 marketers fly out of the tree. They're like, yeah, I'll help you. -9. +21. NQ 1 minute chart. 859. -7. Puncture. +36. Signal with trend. +71. Puncture. Stop filled. -25. Signal with trend at 10:08. +37. Puncture. Stop filled. -13. Puncture. Exit. +21. Signal with trend lost by 10:51. -12. 11:13 on the NQ. Signal with trend. Exit at the next signal +11. 12, 33, 63, 70, 140, 170, 190, -180, 178, 168, 165, 45, 140, 130. Let's call it 120. So $120 at that point times 20 equals $2,400 hypothetical. I don't know why you do. Can you answer that question for me, Esmeralda? We talk about you every week, and nobody knows why you did what you did or why you come back. Am I not understanding something correctly? It's probable. I make a lot of mistakes. I was part of a NinjaTrader event where the speaker before me trades oil. He trades oil and gold. And before I got to speak, Mary, if you're here, you heard me. He was telling everyone about his big positions in oil and gold and heating oil. And he showed me a 60-minute chart. And Earl, when they went to the commercial break before it was my turn, I said, hey, don't leave. I want to show you something. And he's like, what do you want to show me? I said, here's the times for oil. And here are the ones coming up. I said, I don't know what you're telling or what you're trying to figure out, because he would talk about, he spoke to his buddy at the reserve, and he has these photographs that show how full the tanks are, and he's following these Middle Eastern reports. And I was like, it was a long signal from 6 a.m. till 2 in the afternoon. 10 o'clock is the next buy time, and then a sell at 5 o'clock in the morning until 6 o'clock on Monday morning. Oh. And then another guy said he traded home heating oil. And I pulled up that chart and I said, well, that chart doesn't look very random either. Remember, all of these signals were known about in advance. And if I pull the chart over, look how far in the future the signals are waiting. I have the signals until August 29th. That's 2 weeks in the future. You know what that means? All of these signals were known 2 weeks in the future. Is there any question about that? If it's this evident, if it's this apparent, why aren't people flocking to us in droves? Why do people come to the webinar week after week and leave disappointed? Yeah, Esmeralda, I'm looking at your history right here. I'll send you the screenshot. You had our stuff and then you wanted a refund, and there's a balance due. I'll send it to you. I'm not sure why you're here. Take a look at that. Maybe there's a clone. Maybe someone stole your identity. San Bernardino, California. Yeah. Anyway, so we can do this with other things, right? We can apply this to oil. We can apply it to gold. We can apply it to the E-mini S&P. We can apply it to the Qs or SPY. And we can, give it the data that it's needing and get a feel for an analysis of what's coming. And so now for Qs, I put it on early trading hours, not regular trading hours. And I can see the signals. And I know what's coming up on a 60-minute chart or on a 15-minute chart. And if you're an options trader now, you have an advantage. Any questions? Some of you trade SPY on a 5-minute chart, Qs on a 5-minute chart. Same thing. Punctures and signals with trend. And here are the times coming up on the right-hand side. There it is for tomorrow right there. Any questions about what's available? No? Okay. Well, in the end, just to kind of summarize, this is an indicator for NinjaTrader. So if you were opening a chart from scratch, let's say gold futures, I'll show you how we would, we'll do a 60-minute chart for gold. John, we would come in here, we would go into your indicator list, and this program is called Tachyon Warp, Tachyon TimeWarp, and there's a panel with the histograms underneath, and there's your signals. Can I demonstrate trading in replay? I just did. Donna, I just did. I gave you the signals 3 days ago. I gave you the rules 3 days ago. And then we sat here and I showed you the signals with those rules applied. I'm not sure what you mean by can you demonstrate. You actually want to see candles moving? Why? That means you didn't understand anything I showed you. These were the times that I gave you for the NQ, the times that I gave you for the ES in advance. There's one indicator, John. It's warp. Warp has two components, the histogram down below and the time signals up top. It's a lifetime license. So Donna, these times were available in the future. Did you get that part? So the times are available in the future for tomorrow right now. I was doing good. Was I doing good, guys? It's the step awayers that throw me for a loop. Had to walk the dog. Okay, so Donna, when you got to the 715 signal, it crossed over the moving average and I went long. We don't need to replay it. That's what happened. And I told you to hold the signal until 9:10 using the rules that you had access to right there. I would do better if I sang more. Then it punctured the blue, hit the stop of the candle that moved. Then it went through the stop again, only this time was profitable. 11 o'clock was the next buying time we were waiting for, and we held it until the predicted time. Profits adding up all over the place here. 12:45, next signal with trend up until 2:15, 5:15, next buy signal, 4:25. I did used to sing a lot. And here's the thing, it's not exclusive to today. These were the signals yesterday afternoon. These were the signals yesterday. You can look at the signals the day before and the day before that. And it's the same stuff every day, over and over and over again. It happens every day. And all of these signals were available, at least as far as you know, 3 or 4 days in the future. You're a higher time frame person, you want to know what signals to take. The program warned us that there would be a move from 8 a.m. last night until 7 p.m. this night, that there would be a move up from 4 a.m. until 12 o'clock, a move up from 11 o'clock until 10 o'clock. The next move is tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock until 2 o'clock on the 1 hour time frame. Donna, James wanted to pass a note along to you. Can I show it on the screen? James is one of our customers. This is what James sounds like in real life. I can attest to the effectiveness of warp, which I've been using for a couple of years, that the real-time use of the system in real time works. The turning points are not curve fitted, which I think may be Donna's prime concern. Thank you, James. A lot of your concerns could be alleviated too. We've spent a lot of time cultivating our reviews, and so you can get a pretty good. There are no shenanigans. You can get a pretty good sense. Jordan was not happy. Jordan gave us 1 star. I had a big reply to him. He didn't respond to any of it. We reached out and asked him if he wanted help, and he didn't respond. But then Jason and the Trading Gals and Brian Phillips and John Peck and Chris Howard, Carrie Ellis and Asif and Jordan and Tom and Michael, they had a different experience. I am in the wrong business. I am in the wrong. I've been told I should do voiceovers for cartoons, and that I should also do stand-up comedy. Jason, what do you call a pig that does karate? What do you call a pig that does karate? A pork chop. A pork chop. The program we're talking about is just an indicator for Tachyon Warp for NinjaTrader. And this is our #1 selling indicator. If you click on the link in the GoToWebinar chat box that I just pasted there, you can literally have the times for tomorrow on any time frame you trade in any market that you look at. Now that you know they exist, now that you know there is quite literally a man behind the curtain, right? Remember this movie growing up that probably scared as many of you as it did me? It was very spooky. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Well, we just found the man behind the curtain. We know where his buttons are. We know where the levers are, right? And day after day after day in the NQ, evening, morning, afternoon, these were the signal times for the NQ yesterday, John. Donna, these were the signal times and directions for the most volatile market that you can trade. Carl wants to send you a note too, Donna. If you were single, there's probably 2 guys in here that would love to communicate with you. We might be forming love connections here today. Donna, this is what Carl wanted you to know. I've been using the signals for about 3 months. The signals are quite accurate day after day. So these are real people, by the way. Let me just make a point before I forget. We have a community of users in our Skype group. And so when you join and you use the software, there are people that are in here sharing their results, sharing what they're doing, their failures and successes, and in here telling you what they did and why they did it, looking for companions to trade alongside and share their results with. So we do have a community of people that they're here today. They come to a sales webinar, which means I actually teach something during a sales webinar, which is bananas, right? But that community is available when you get the software. So at the bottom of that page is an orange buy now button. And when you click on it, there's a pop-up. One of the things we learned, we've been doing this for 15 years now, is people like to see things moving, and they learn better. Some people learn better while markets are moving. And so I have a room that I teach, right? I'm one of the two founders here since the very beginning. I'm in there Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 9 to 11. If you own the software and you haven't been in my room for at least a month, shame on you. Please ask me or Rachel or Dave or Drew how to get that link. We are doing incredible stuff in there today. We had an amazing trade. I pushed out of one. It went against me 4 ticks, 5 ticks. It got to break even and I closed it. And then it went up $10. And I said, well, I still have work I need to do on myself, but the call was right. And then we had another opportunity after that. So we're looking for about a $200 daily goal before we start exploring more aggressive setups. And I do that every day, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 9 to 11. If you want to be a part of that, just add it to your cart. If not, just go to the checkout without that. No harm, no foul. Purchase agreement, no refunds, no returns. We don't share your data with anybody else. Please make sure you have a computer that you didn't have since 1970. We promise to make sure that the software works and it's bug-free. Don't try to copy the program or then open your own trading room and show people your stuff. People have done it in the past. We find them and we have a lawyer that we feed red meat to who contacts them. Don't do it. Remember, you can lose all your money in trading and more. And then here's the big thing. Don't yell at us when you're not happy. Don't do all caps with 5 exclamation points. Don't call our support staff stupid. We extend every courtesy and modicum of respect to everyone we work with. I'm up from 7 in the morning till 11 at night, working with people in every time zone. I love our customers, but a few of you can be a kind of, you know the word. Yeah, well, John, it wasn't that. It was me being fearful. I had to stop, and my break even is literally 6 to 8 ticks on the ES, and I didn't follow my rule. Copped up to it. I didn't follow my rule. And if I had, it was a $10 trade today. Just one of them. We had a couple. But I am human. I do bleed when you cut me. There's a promo code, WARP, and that's why a lot of people trade options. You're right, John. OFF. WARP, OFF, or the Geico commercial. WARP, OFF. That would be the Emu Limu. WARP, OFF. When you type WARP, OFF and hit apply, it takes $500 off because you sat here through my insanity. Yep. A lot of when binary options first came out, John, a lot of the customers got this and were using it for that too. The people who trade options in stocks, for example, if you pull up Apple on a daily chart and you're looking for places for calls or puts, they just have to get in the money a little bit, right? That's the beauty of options. So if it's Apple or Microsoft or any of those kinds of markets, they just have to get in the money a little bit, no stops. Oh, I appreciate you too, Jason. So there's definitely a benefit to the options side of things, and you'd be silly not to use this for that. in my opinion. This comes with a lifetime license, 2 computer licenses, laptop, keyboard, laptop, desktop. If you die, you can pass this along to someone. Your license is transferable. There is a video training archive in the Customer Resource Center where we have helpful setup articles. There's free installation, white glove install via GoToMeeting if you want to have someone install it on your computer. NinjaTrader has APIs that allow you to port data from other sources, including programs like, I think TD Ameritrade lets you bring your data on over into NinjaTrader. It used to be Interactive Brokers, but then Schwab came in and started doing some squirrely stuff. Can Warp run concurrently with another? Oh, sure, 100%. Yeah, so John, it's very common for people to, for example, one of the things that a lot of people will throw on here are VWAPs and Bollinger Bands, and there's usually a trail of tears up here of programs people bought before ours. I think number one would be Next Gen. How many of you bought Next Gen at one point or another? I would say about 30 to 40% of people bought Next Gen. And when you come up here in this folder, it's like Next Gen T3, T4, T6, T11. And it's like, oh my God, how did people? We are a bad sales organization. Why can't we sell millions of licenses to people like they do? I actually know the answer to that, but I don't like talking bad about other vendors, especially NinjaTrader ecosystem vendors. They're very good at what they do. That's all I'll say. But yeah, John, you can run other stuff concurrently, no problem. In fact, if you have an existing system or something that you've been following, one of our last customers uses Elliott waves, and he has an Elliott wave package for his computer. He just doesn't know which wave to trust or when and in what direction. It really accelerated his results. A guy named Colin in the UK added time and price together, and that was the linchpin for him. So you're going to be good to go. Trust me. I'm asking you to trust me. Thank you for your time today. We won't belabor it. I'm just going to thank you. My son goes to college tomorrow, my youngest. He is the last bastion of adolescence here, and my wife and I are alone with our 2 dogs now. And it's weird. Time has a way, if you're not careful, of sneaking up on you. And for some of you, you've spent months, years trying to tame this lion. And if you're not careful, you're going to blink, and another year, another 5 years, another decade is going to go by. If you read the testimonials, you'll see there's a common thread. Michael, I was struggling. I bought everything under the sun. I've seen everything. I've tried everything. I know all the tricks. I know all of the ways people pull the fleece over your eyes and get you to buy the greatest thing in the world. But I started following your times, and week after week, I realized there was no way you could fake it. I sat there and watched the times go up and down, and I asked myself, how long am I going to sit here and watch all of these winners leave without me? And I bit the bullet. It took me a couple weeks to get started. I got it under my grasp. I'm under control. And now I'm seeing the markets for the first time the way they really are. I've watched all your videos. I've read all your reviews and testimonials. I'm in. If that story resonates with you, what are you waiting for? Everything I've done here today was with complete transparency. Donna, the times were known 3 days ago. The signal directions were known 3 days ago. The stops were determined 3 days ago. The targets were determined 3 days ago. All I did was show you after the fact what money you would have made if you'd believed me last week. That's it. That's it. I am for you. I am your biggest fan. I know how hard this is. I know how lonely this is. I know the way people look at you when you tell them what you want to do. I know when they want you to go to Gamblers Anonymous. I know the way your spouse can look at you when you've lost money that was in the account a few minutes ago. I know there's a burning part of you in your heart that wants to prove to everyone around you that it was possible, that it was worth the sacrifice, the hours that you sat year after year staring at a chart, trying to figure out how it all worked. I know what it's like to be lied to by a vendor. I know what it's like to try to find someone to get a refund for $10, $20, $30,000, and they shut the company down and reopen it under a different name. I know all those things. I take extra steps to make sure that you see how careful I've been to avoid all of those pitfalls and traps and make this the most obvious decision possible for you. I am for you. This is what I do. I do it best. I used to apologize to people, but I won't anymore. I make no apologies for doing what I do. Whatever my motives, it doesn't matter. It works and it helps people, and I want to help you. May the wind be at your back and the sun shine upon your face. May the mountains lay low before you and the valleys rise up to meet you. I believe with you today in the goals that you've set before yourself, the accomplishments yet to be achieved, the profits yet to be harvested, the smiles yet to be experienced. I am for you and agreeing with you in all those things. Amen and amen. Donna. Who hurt you? What's his name? It's always a he. Yeah, it's okay. You can trust me. Come here. Hold my hand. It's going to be okay. I can have you talk to someone who's got it, who's had it for a long time. But if you have to start saving, don't make me start yanking people's ropes until you're ready. When you're ready, you can talk to as many people as you want. You can sit here with me. I have classes that are recorded, but it's okay. This is hard. This is the hardest thing. 95% of people fail at it. You got a better chance of being a brain surgeon or an army ranger than you do at doing this successfully. That's why people who come understand how insane that is. That's insane. The signals were known days in advance, and they did what they were always going to do without your permission or knowledge. I want that for you. I spent my life building this for you. It's okay. We'll follow up with you. We'll help you get comfortable. We'll go slow. We'll start slow. 1, 2, cha-cha-cha. Before we start doing dirty dancing moves where we throw you over our heads. You never close your eyes anymore when your stops are filled. Guys, have a great afternoon and evening. Thank you so much. Donna, we'll be in touch. And John, just give me your money already. Let's not even argue about it. Let's do this. Asif, shalom. Don't get blown up over there. If you see a star getting brighter and brighter and brighter, please go down into the bomb shelter. It is not a meteor shower. I was just thinking, what do people in Israel do when they see all this stuff and they're like, we should go outside and look at the meteor shower. No one can look at meteor showers in Israel. I feel so bad. It's like, if you see that, you turn right around and walk inside. Take out the phone and take a picture, he said. There you go. All right, I love you. I'll see you soon. Have a great day. Bye.